Welcome to another episode of Real Dad Movement Podcast. Obviously I'm Al, you know who I am, but this is about helping you tap into the greater version of who you can become. And today's episode is really talking about the little voice inside. And for us, I love the pink elephant rule. That's one of our other episodes that you can dive into, where we talk about how you should align your focus. 10% on what you don't want in your life, 20% on what you do want, 70% on what you can do now, taking action, future, past, present. But when we look at all of this, what's important is understanding the power. Not all things are created equal. And the reality is recognizing the power in that 10% of what you don't want can ultimately tap into and free up and utilize a monstrous amount of power in what you desire and what you can do right here and now. And as we start to explore that and really look at what's happening inside of our lives, we then begin to realize that, hey, you know what? That little voice inside can be turned on his head. I can tap into a higher level of power in knowing that that's not me. That's not you. And it doesn't have to be you, mate. We've all got it. I've got little Al inside as well. I've got big Al and little Al. And little Al pipes up every single day and tells me what I shouldn't do. Hit the snooze button, mate. You need some more sleep. You're about to have your third child. Sleep's very important. You're not getting any anyway because your other two daughters are waking up all the time. You don't need to train now. You're okay. You'll be right, mate. Don't worry about creating these 5 books. Dads don't need it. Just tell them to give you a call and you'll guide them through it, mate. No, this is about understanding that doesn't have to be you. You can rise up and always be more. Tell me this, riddle me this. If you can pull away from that version of you that you're actually analyzing and you're aware of, who's that? That's the higher level of who you can be. And you express that in moments when you recognize the little voice isn't you. Unfortunately, more often than not, we come to the realization when that little voice pipes up and sometimes beats down the bigger voice, or the bigger voice is having an eternal power nap, which seems like it's days, months, or years, he wins. And it's frustrating and hard when that happens. I get that, mate. I understand, because we don't want him to win, do we? He's always there. It's that devil inside. And for me, whether it's voodoo spirits or absolute science, I've got a massive sweet spot and range of both, from which I collectively form up the reality of me and my reality and what I can do to move forward instead of living in one area or section. And I still have that. The demon and devil comes inside, and it can get dark, especially if you've got that range. It can get real heavy at times where it's just hard. I can't see a way out. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. Whether it's pressures with work, pressures with my family, pressures with relationships, it's all there. And I just feel like everything's piling on top of me. And the fuck, Al, it was yesterday. I was in high school, mate. I just want to live my life and be free. Yes, I get that, mate. That's what happens. And I'm not going to sit here saying, welcome to the real world, mate, toughen up, you'll be right. No, that's bullshit, I'm someone who can be a very powerful and strong man in that case. I've built an incredible force field to pull the shit and push the shit away from me, but also the empathy to understand that this is life, man. Like, feelings drive our life. Doesn't matter if you're 38, 48, or 58. Your feelings drive your reality. Your feelings control the gear stick of where you want to steer and ultimately apply your attention and focus in life. And what you focus and apply your attention to in life becomes your immediate reality. I'm looking at a piece of technology right now, and I'm speaking into a microphone in this room, which is an environment that I love. And it's amazing. It's my temple, my shrine back there. Talking to myself and having these revelations about what I can do and who I can be inside of my life. And really, the only reality that exists is what I'm focusing on right here and right now. Speaking and talking to you. I've got a missed call from my wife. I'll need to get back to her shortly. This is her last day at work. But the reality is, my reality is right here and now with you, regardless of whether you're listening, watching, or you'll catch up on replays. When the little voice pipes up, which we all have, it can be hard to see what's possible. We need to adopt the power in looking and going, yes, thank you for telling me what not to do. Now fuck off so I can go and live my greater life. And that's the way to be. But it can be very hard when that pipes up. More often than not, when we have that level of understanding going, where are you coming from? This isn't me. Why is this happening? Why does this have to happen? What happens, mate, is the reality in your circumstances come down to your life, which is a series of patterns. And life is a series of patterns. There may be moments that define the patterns in your life, but they're simply moments, regardless of how big or small they are. So when we're looking at these patterns, behaviors, routines, rituals, habits, they're all almost the exact same thing, but it's what our life is when you think about it, when you look at it, even when you look at the science of it. 91% of our lives are done autonomously, which means 9% is what you consciously create. seems so small, but that's the power. The 9% of what you apply in your life equals the 91% of the outcome. Pareto's principle. It's a way that you can measure up any way that you want, and it doesn't have to equal a value of 100, but it's the truth. That 9% of your life equals the 100% of your life, because what you're doing consciously and what you're aware of becomes the back burner of your subconscious, which puts you into autopilot when you have those moments where you don't even know what's happening, you're just doing. And I guess that's the greatest thing and the greatest value that I can have from this today, which I want to share with you in how you can apply the little voice inside to be more. See, for me, for about 12 months now, 6 to 12 months, I've been saying and repeating to myself in many different environments and scenarios that I don't lose, I win. And nothing will stop me. And that's the truth. But it becomes a truth because I think it, feel it, say it, and I take actions off the back of it. It's something that I created. We're all born with a blank canvas. Yes, the actual canvas size, the material, the woods, how it's fastened might be unique slightly and a bit different to all of us. But the reality is we generally, more often than not, all have a paintbrush and we've got some paint to work with. The question we need to ask ourselves is, what are we feeding and fueling our conscious in the forefront of our brain that's going to ultimately determine and dictate the rest of our lives and what we can do autonomously? Because that is your life, mate. It's a series of patterns. So when you recognize this small voice that you've got inside that's always there, you begin to recognize and realize that, hey, I put him there. Yes, you did. And that's okay. While you're greatest denominator and you are your greatest liability, you're also your greatest asset and your greatest contributor to the life that you can live in having that the fulfillment and the richness in there because of the actions that you take. No one else. I don't save the dads inside of RDM, and I'm humbled by it. I know some of them say that to me. You shouldn't say that, Al, because you're doing awesome. That's great. I'm humbled by it. But the reality is they save themselves. We provide a platform and the environment from them to enhance and amplify their life. That's what environment does. That was our latest book, Tribal, The Power of Environment. Very, very strong. You can have a reasonably successful life, but you'll never have the wild success you can have in family, self, and service if you don't have the right tribe and people in your corner. That's facts, data, science, history. Thousands of years will show us that from evolution to where we are now. So when we look inside of ourselves, we know that little voice has been put there by us, which means, guess what, mate? You've got the power to put him in his place. You've got the power to alternate what he says and what he dictates to you and what you ultimately want to carve out with your own life. This is the little voice inside. And hear me out when I say this, and it's not saying that it's okay, but what I'm saying is that it's necessary to have that. Because A, it's one thing that we can't control. It's always there. And B, it's something that shows us exactly what not to do. I'm not joking when I say that. Like when I get those voices inside that tell me that I should be doing this, this, and this instead of that, I say, thank you for the gift. You've just shown me the exact opposite of what I should be doing, which is fantastic. And that's what I go and do. There's a lot of power to that when you start to realize what you can tap into is actually the reasoning and the voices and really the hints and pathways for what's possible when sometimes it's not always in an optimistic and positive light. They're very powerful. Some of the greatest traumas I've ever had in my life have become the greatest triumphs. And playing the game of life is about playing consistency over intensity. It's not about the big home run. You'll hit home runs, but they've been off the back of thousands of swings in the batting net, practicing and working in the line and the life that you can have off the back of what you're consistently doing right here and now. Don't ever forget that. True power is so important. Knowledge means fuck all. It's worse than ignorance if you don't back it up with action because you know what you should do and you don't do it. It's worse than ignorance. Learn it, do it, and then reflect. How am I going? Can I be more? Can I do more? What do I need to do? How can I apply this to my life in a better way? That's true power. And when you start to apply that in your life in a way that looks at the little voice inside that shifts and adjusts your patterns and your behaviors and your habits, you're going to start to have more wins than losses. You're going to start to become more victorious instead of being a victim. You're going to start to become more triumphant instead of having the traumas. And this is what happens. It's what your life becomes. It truly does. I hope you're getting a lot out of this in understanding that, mate, you're not alone. No one speaks to you any more than you speak to yourself. I hear and see different scientific reports about the mind, and it ranges from 50 to 90,000 thoughts a day. Thoughts are words. They're internal words. You're speaking to yourself. Okay? Not talking about hallucinogenic drugs and there's a little green dragon on my shoulder. You literally have conversations with yourself every single day. What kind of company are you keeping is the question you should probably be asking yourself. What is this man doing to add value to my life is the question you should be asking yourself of yourself. Because make no mistake, the company that you keep first and foremost with you is the company that you will become. And that's a very powerful statement, because it is the truth. And what it showcases is if you feed the power of the naysayer, the little voice, the lesser version inside of you, that will become your reality. And that is the truth. And when you look at a series of patterns and habits that form up your life, more often than not, it comes off the back of the battles that you win or lose with the little voice inside. And I'll tell you right now, mate, like, please hear me out here. I'm not here for fame and riches to have 500 million followers. I'm playing the long game, because I know in 10 years' time, I'm just warming up. And in 20 years' time, we're hitting our straps. We'll have the old guard, we'll have the little brothers, and we'll have a whole entire ecosystem of fathers that understand what they can have in their life, and that it's okay to feel down and out. It's okay to be in the pit. And it's a share, not compare type format. You don't know what it's like, Al. You're only about to have 3 kids, mate, and I've got 5. Fuck, mate, good for you. I don't care about the quality, it's about the quantity. And it's not about your individual circumstances. I can never judge you for your actions and what you're doing unless I live a day in the life of your shoes, which is obviously literally impossible. I can understand what drives you, your past, your present, and the future that you desire in your life. But when you start to get the dick measuring contest going on and pulling the ruler out, no one wins. I'm telling you right now, you play the long game, you play consistently by understanding that, yes, I'm not alone. I'm not perfect. I can be the big tough man. I can be the soft empathetic man. My feelings are important. They drive what I want in my life. My family is important. My environment of work, the actual force I can put out there in the world, the value and service I give to the world is something that brings me significance. I can do all that if I work on myself first and I win the battle inside first. That's the little voice. And you can. You're bigger than him. You're way bigger than your circumstances ever could, will, or should be, because you create them. You adjust your perspective, your scope, and the lens how you see things. And I'll tell you right now, mate, it might not always be glamorous, but it's fucking glorious. Because when you play the long game and you play consistently, you win. And even those losses you have will never be as big as the victories you have, because of the man that you become inside yourself, which naturally pours into your legacy and the leadership that you show your family and your children, because of the actions that you've taken in your life by standing up when the rest of the fucking world doesn't. And that's the truth. None of us are different from each other. I speak these words and express this energy with a level of passion that's my standard. People think I'm passionate, and I'm not. It's just me. It's what I do. It's how I operate. Because what's the alternative? Win the voice inside, mate, by starting to recognizing the awareness that you're not alone, you're not the only one. We all have that, and we can all triumph over it. Many have before, and many will after we're gone and nothing but dust in the earth. The question is, what's your reality, and what's the reality that you want to create and choose for yourself, which ultimately creates the environment that you're going to set up for your family and your children, which sets up the life for your unborn great-grandchildren. That's the honor and that's the gift of being a father in the modern world. Take care. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a great day, night, afternoon, weekday, weekend, whenever you watch this, listen to this, or hear it on our podcast, 6 different platforms. And I hope you really enjoyed this. Just understand that we all have that little voice inside, and sometimes he's pretty big and he's loud and he's yelling. I have that as well, mate. Trust me, I have that. And there's times when he's just punching me in the face all day. But you know what? I just say, that's okay, mate. You'll keep. And he does, because I get up and I knock him out, and then I move forward and I keep living my life on my terms the way that I do. Hope you enjoyed this. Tune in for another episode. If you ever need anything, please let me know. alex@realdadmovement.com.au. I've nearly got all of the courses set. I've got a master course I'm about to roll out. It's the entire course. So 5 books, audio books, video series. It's monstrous. Yeah, the Power course is awesome. Have all that for free, but this dwarfs that. It's unbelievable. Hope you enjoyed it. The Power course, you haven't got that, let me know. I'll send you that first, but that's something that I'm very excited to release. It's all about helping fathers, you know. When dads win, everyone wins. It's not corny. It's not cheesy. It's the fucking truth, man, and we do it the right way through love and leadership of our own life and our own actions.